Please welcome to the stage writer-director Kolodro Carucci. Actress Alison Fresca. Actor Joel Widman. And Dean Darling himself. What's your name again? Douglas Towers. Go to the middle, guys. Head to the middle. Center stage here. So, you guys know the drill. You ask the questions and they will answer them. And as always, I have my phone if you would like to tweet your questions to hashtag SBFF. I think some of you may know them. So do you have any questions? Yes, sir.
Again, clearly a lot of talent. It was terrific. Looking back at the movie now, all four of you, would there have been something you would have did differently?
Great lead question. Would you have done anything differently now that you've seen the movie?
Let's see, is this mic on? Okay. To be honest, no. So, I mean, the film is now 2 years old. We shot this film 2 years ago, this next week. My friend, and his cousin is in the audience, but my friend Esteban, he actually mentioned the other day something I really liked. He said that films are like pieces, and so every time you make a film, it takes different pieces of you, and that's why he likes to call films or movies, he likes to call them pieces. So he says, oh, I'm making this new piece. That's the way I look at Dean Darling. It was a piece. It's a slice of your life. It's a slice of things that happen over time in your lives, in your actors' lives. So at that moment, that was me. That was Doug. That was Joel. That was Allison. If I were to cut the film differently now, sure, it could look different. Would I want to do that? Not necessarily, because that was the piece.
Yes, sir. You liked the movie?
Thank you.
More questions? Yes, right there, sir. So it's a very nice comment about how much the film affected him. And it's interesting. He's saying how, you know, life is like a journey and he could see himself younger. You guys are like young. How are you making a movie like this?
You get a camera.
Yes, ma'am, you have a question. You? Yeah, I picked you. What gave you the idea for this type of movie?
I was very influenced by the French New Wave, if anybody likes the French New Wave. So, like anything by Godard, Truffaut, and the Italian neorealism era, so like Antonioni and Fellini, and Cassavetes and Scorsese, so all these different directors. And you probably see different pieces of that in the film. But it starts with the character, for me at least, it starts with the character, and then you just build the world around that, and we kind of built it together in different ways.
Yes, sir. It's a great question. I'm going to simplify it just a little bit. Can you talk about the music you used for the whole Coney Island sequence and explain your choice of that? Yeah.
Well, the music is an homage to Un Chien Andalou by Luis Buñuel. In that short film, he uses it's like a combination of a salsa and this big orchestral piece by Richard Wagner. It's called Tristan und Isolde, and so that's where that music comes from. But you hit the nail on the head when you were saying the return to Coney Island and what it represents. You hit the nail on the head.
How about some questions for the actors? Do we have any questions for the actors? Nobody cares about the actors. Yes, sir. This was a family history comment. We're going to get a few of those, I think. That's great. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, where was this filmed? He was talking about the whole Long Island family and all of that. Where was this filmed?
All over Long Island, Smithtown, mostly Clojure's house, his girlfriend's house. Something that you mentioned, Long Island is a huge theme in the movie. It's everywhere from the scenes, the attitudes, the dialogue. One thing that me and Clojuro bond over is our hatred of contrived dialogue. We hate when we hear things that sound like they shouldn't be said, or they remind you that you're watching a movie. And this we kind of tried to, he was very flexible with the dialogue. You could interject, you could repeat yourself, because that's what normal people do. Especially in Long Island, we don't even like to say Long Island, we like to say Long Island, you know? And it's like, we don't just speak and then wait for the other person to speak. We speak, then they start speaking, and then they go, no, you listen to me about how it is. So everything is Long Island. It was a big thing.
Yeah, that's pretty much just who you are anyway, right, Joel?
This guy's such a bully.
More questions, please. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the three actors, I thought the flow was really good between all of you through the scene. Were you allowed, and did you take any liberties to ad-lib as you felt the emotion through the movie?
Great question. So how much improvisation, ad-libbing was there?
So Joel kind of touched on that a little bit before. What was nice is that he had, he's a director, he needs a direction to kind of put us in. But once that was set, he kind of let us feel out how we wanted to. So there were times when he just kind of said, go, and just figure it out. And those were probably some of the fun times.
I'll project. I think a lot of our scenes were largely improvised, and even through some of the things that were montages, we were talking during those things and kind of in character for a lot of it, which was really fun and interesting and kind of rare for, because you have to move and you have to work and you have to get the script and story that you want. But yeah, a lot of our stuff was improvised.
Which is fantastic, because
yeah.
a lot of times you do get a director who's like, you have to say word for word, period, can't change a comma, you got to do it exactly how they say it. So it's nice to have that,
that freedom. And yeah.
Yes, ma'am. What was the last part of the question?
Budget.
Oh, budget, okay. So how long did it take to film it? And you can answer the budget question if you choose to or not.
That's fine. I'm totally fine with that. We filmed it in 13 days, and we shot it on about $20,000.
Okay, we have time for a couple more questions. Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah, that's something. I mean, the best filmmakers.
Just so people know what he's talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a couple times in the movie where you'll freeze the action while it still continues on, like after the fight sequence. So, go.
Yeah. So the different freezes in time during that scene, right? So the best filmmakers are the ones that I really like the most. Are the ones who actually steal from everybody. They're great thieves. So I stole from someone. Francois Truffaut. He did a film called Jules and Jim, way back in the '60s, and this actress, he had this medium close-up on this actress, and then basically froze frame each different emotion that she depicted within the next 10 seconds. And I knew going in that that's what I wanted to do, so I storyboarded it.
So I have a question for the actors. Which ones of you were playing most like yourselves, and who had to stretch the furthest and play least like themselves?
I feel like it's tough because, like, I mean, he kind of said it too, where it was like, it is a piece of you. There's always a part of you that kind of comes from. So, I mean, the nice part about ad-libbing when it's a human being is that you can kind of just play that part of yourself, just kind of flip the meter up a little bit more and just kind of let it go. But I feel like I'm not nearly as depressed, I'll tell you that much. But otherwise, I feel like we're fairly similar to it.
I'm not careless with feelings, but I do run on the beach a lot, you know.
I don't sweat as much as I swear.
So what's next for you guys? Quickly.
So we're shooting another feature. It's called Moving in 2008. We'll be... this time it's a big step up. It's a much bigger budget than this one. And we have a lot of goodies. We have great actors and actresses. Each one of these guys is going to be in the film in some sort of capacity. I think it's nice to bring back the people who you work with, because you owe them that at least. So we'll be doing that and shooting that in the next 2 weeks, and then hopefully maybe it'll be back at the Stony Brook Film Festival eventually.
Calogero Carucci, Allison Fresca, Joel Woodman, Douglas Towers, thank you guys. It was great.